Hi there. Article Forge 2.0 is an incredible step forward in automated content generation. A big reason for that is the quality of the articles it generates. However, another big reason for that is the control you now have over the content Article Forge writes. So I'm going to go over some of the cool ways that you can control how Article Forge writes. I'm going to do this by going over each of the example articles on our homepage and some of the tips and tricks you can learn from those articles so that when you use Article Forge, you can create similarly awesome content. I'm going to start with the standard way of generating content by simply providing the keyword you want Article Forge to write about. So for the first example, I'll enter the keyword Bitcoin. Now I could just click Create Article, and it would generate a perfectly fine article about Bitcoins. However, in this case, I want to control exactly what the article talks about. I want this article to give some advantages and some disadvantages of Bitcoins. So I'll add advantages and disadvantages as subkeywords. Now I'll go over the article that I created with this setting, and you can see that it very clearly goes over both some advantages and some disadvantages of Bitcoins. This level of customization is possible because Article Forge writes every article entirely from scratch, which means if it sees a subkeyword, it will try to make sure that article talks about that subkeyword, especially with respect to your primary keyword. For instance, it sees advantages, and it will try to write about that with respect to Bitcoin. Another key area where Article Forge shines now is local content. In this example, I will use Baltimore plumber. As an important note, when entering a keyword, you should use Baltimore plumber and not plumber Baltimore. The reason for that is because you will often say Baltimore plumber. For instance, I am looking for a Baltimore plumber, but you will never say, I am looking for a plumber Baltimore. Article Forge is usually smart enough to figure out how you want a keyword phrased, but to get the highest quality results, I would make sure to enter your keyword in the same way you would want Article Forge to write about it. For the next example, I'm going to show you how you can have Article Forge write about your company. In this case, let's pretend I own a furniture company called Elite Furniture Warehouse. I could write an article with Elite Furniture Warehouse as my keyword, and it would likely write a pretty good article. The problem with this, though, is that Article Forge doesn't actually know what Elite Furniture Warehouse does. I don't, since it doesn't even exist. So it might write something slightly irrelevant. So in this case, let's say we want the article to specifically be about rustic living room furniture. So I would set my primary keyword as rustic living room furniture and my subkeyword to be Elite Furniture Warehouse. I'll now show you the completed article, and you can see it wrote about how Elite Furniture Warehouse builds awesome rustic living room furniture, exactly what you'd hope for. As a warning, if you are entering your company name, I would recommend checking the article afterwards to make sure it is capitalized properly. Article Forge is very smart, but if it has never heard of your company before, it might not have stylized it exactly how you want. You can also do this for things like product reviews. You can enter the product as your main keyword, and then some of the features as subkeywords, or vice versa. Just make sure that you enter in your keyword enough information about what type of a product it is to help Article Forge know exactly what you want to write about. For instance, if the product name is something vague, you might want to just include the type of product it is. For instance, that it's a laptop or a mouse or a sprinkler system. In a similar way, I would recommend using subkeywords as a way to clarify your intention for your main keyword. Let's say you want to write about Apple. No matter what, you should probably add a subkeyword, whether it's fruit or computer or laptop, depending on what type of Apple you want it to write about. Otherwise, Article Forge will just kind of have to guess which Apple you are referring to. You can also use subkeywords in a more traditional way to go over subtopics. In this example, we want to write about gaining muscle, and we can enter the subtopics exercise and protein, and Article Forge will write about both of those and how they relate to gaining muscle. If you wanted to, you could have it write about any other number of subtopics, creatine, strength training, whatever it is you want it to write about. If you enter it as a subtopic, it will try to include that. Finally, one other tip is that you can use Article Forge to ask a question and then answer that question through keywords and subkeywords. For instance, in this example, we'll use how to get out of debt as the main keyword and debt consolidation as the subkeyword. That way, Article Forge will ask the question of how to get out of debt, and it will pose debt consolidation as a possible answer to that question. I hope all this information has helped you with understanding some of the best practices to Article Forge. Article Forge is an extremely powerful tool, and these tips just scratch the surface of the types of ways you can guide Article Forge to write about the type of content you want it to. Another thing to note is that since subkeywords are very structured, as we showed, you can have it mean any number of things, And since Article Forge is designed to make sure every article is completely unique, sometimes it doesn't use subkeywords or keywords exactly in the way you would expect. It might be that it went a little off topic, or it talked about something negatively that you were hoping it would talk about positively, or maybe it focused more heavily on a specific subtopic, or maybe not quite as heavily. I found Article Forge almost always does a good job writing content and reading your mind and your intentions for exactly what type of content you want to write. But if for some reason you didn't like the direction it went in, I would recommend just slightly refining your subkeywords and then going again. Odds are, the second time, Article Forge will write the article in exactly the way you were hoping. I hope you found these tips to be helpful. If there's anything else you'd like to see us cover in terms of best practices, send us a message and let us know. Otherwise, thanks so much for watching, and I hope you make the most out of Article Forge and the content that it generates.